The Bible in a Year, Day 96, 1 Samuel 21 through 24. Then David departed on his way, while Jonathan went back into the city. David went to Ahimelech the priest of Nob, who came trembling to meet him. He asked, "Why are you alone? Is there no one with you?" David answered the priest, "The king gave me a commission and told me, 'Do not let anyone know anything about the business on which I have sent you or the commission I have given you, or that reason I have arranged a particular meeting place with my men. Now, what do you have on hand? Give me 5 loaves, or whatever you can find." But the priest replied to David, "I have no ordinary bread on hand, only holy bread. If the men have abstained from women, you may eat some of that." David answered the priest, "We have indeed stayed away from women. In the past, whenever I went out on a campaign, all the young men were consecrated, even for an ordinary campaign. All the more so are they consecrated with their weapons today." So the priest gave him holy bread, for no other bread was on hand except the showbread, which has been removed from before the Lord and replaced by fresh bread when it was taken away. One of Saul's servants was there that day, detained before the Lord. His name was Doeg the Edomite, the chief of Saul's shepherds. David then asked Ahimelech, "Do you have a spear or a sword on hand?" "I brought along neither my sword nor my weapons, because the king's business was urgent." The priest replied, "The sword of Goliath the Philistine, whom you killed in the valley of Elah, is wrapped in a garment behind an ephod. If you wish to take it, do so. There is no sword here except that one. There is none like it." David cried, "Give it to me." That same day David fled from Saul, going to Achish, king of Gath. But the servants of Achish said to him, "Is this not David, the king of the land? Is it not for him that during the dances they sing out, 'Saul has slain his thousands, and David his tens of thousands'?" David took note of these remarks and became very much afraid of Achish, king of Gath. So he feigned insanity in front of them and acted like a madman in their custody, drumming on the doors of the gate and drooling onto his beard. Finally Achish said to his servants, "You see, the man is mad. Why do you bring him to me? Do I not have enough madmen that you bring this one to rant in my presence? Should this fellow come into my house?" David left Gath and escaped to the cave of Adullam. When his brothers and the rest of his family heard about it, they came down to meet him there. He was joined by all those in difficulties or in debt or embittered, and became their leader. About 400 men were with him. From there David went to Mizpeh of Moab and said to the king of Moab, "Let my father and mother stay with you until I learn what God will do for me." He left them with the king of Moab. They stayed with him as long as David remained in the stronghold. But Gad the prophet said to David, "Do not remain in the stronghold. Leave, go to the land of Judah." And so David left and went to the forest of Hereth. Now Saul heard that David and his men had been located. At the time he was sitting in Gibeah under a tamarisk tree on the high place, holding his spear, while all his servants stood by him. So he said to them, "Listen, men of Benjamin, will the son of Jesse give all of you fields and vineyards? Will he appoint any of you an officer or for 1,000 or 100 men? Is that why you have all conspired against me? Why no one told me that my son made a pact with the son of Jesse? Why has no one told me that my son made a pact with the son of Jesse? None of you have shown compassion for me by revealing to me that my son has incited my servant to ambush me, as is the case today." Then Doeg the Edomite, who was standing with Saul's officers, spoke up. "I saw the son of Jesse come to Ahimelech, son of Ahitub in Nob. He consulted the Lord for him, furnished him with provisions, and gave him the sword of Goliath the Philistine." So the king summoned Ahimelech the priest, son of Ahitub, and his family, the priests in Nob, They all came to the king. "Listen up, son of Ahitub," Saul declared. "Yes, my lord," he replied. Saul questioned him. "Why have you conspired against me with the son of Jesse, by giving him food and a sword, and my consulting God for him, that he might rise up against me in ambush, as is the case today?" Ahimelech answered the king, "Who among all your servants is as loyal as David, the king's son-in-law, captain of your bodyguard and honored in your own house? Is this the first time I have consulted God for him? No, indeed. Let not the king accuse his servant or anyone in my family of such a thing. Your servant knows nothing at all, great or small, about the whole matter." But the king said, shall certainly die, Ahimelech, with all your family." The king then commanded his guards standing by him, "Turn and kill the priests of the Lord, for they have gave David a hand. They knew he was a fugitive and yet failed to inform me." But the king's servants refused to raise a hand to strike the priests of the Lord. The king therefore commanded Doeg, "You turn and kill the priests." So Doeg the Edomite himself turned and killed the priests. That day 85 who wore the linen ephod. Saul also put the priestly city of Nob to the sword, including men and women, children and infants, and oxen and donkeys and sheep. One son of Ahimelech, son of Ahitub, named Abiathar, escaped and fled to David. When Abiathar told David that Saul had slain the priests of the Lord, David said to him, "I knew that day when Doeg the Edomite was there that he would certainly tell Saul. I am responsible for the slaughter of all your family. Stay with me. Do not be afraid. Whoever seeks your life must seek my life also. You are under my protection." David was informed that the Philistines were attacking Keilah and plundering the threshing floors, so he consulted the Lord, asking, "Shall I go and attack the Philistines?" The Lord answered, "Go, attack them, and free Keilah." But David's men said to him, "Even in Judah we have reason to fear. How much more so if we go to Keilah against the forces of the Philistines?" Again David consulted the Lord, who answered, "Go down to Keilah, for I will deliver the Philistines into your power." So David went with his men to Keilah and fought against the Philistines. He drove off their cattle and inflicted a severe defeat on them, and freed the inhabitants of Keilah. Abiathar, son of Ahimelech, who had fled to David, went down with David to Keilah, taking the ephod with him. When Saul was told that David had entered Keilah, he thought, "God has put him in my hand, for he has boxed himself in by entering a city with gates and bars." Saul then called all the army to war in order to go down to Keilah and besiege David and his men. When David found out that Saul was planning to harm him, he said to the priest Abiathar, "Bring the ephod here." "Lord God of Israel," David prayed, "your servant has heard that Saul plans to come to Keilah to destroy the city on my account. Will they hand me over? Will Saul come down as your servant has heard? Lord God of Israel, tell your servant." The Lord answered, "He will come down." David then answered, "Will the citizens of Keilah deliver me and my men into the hand of Saul?" The Lord answered, "They will deliver you." So David and his men, about 600 in number, left Keilah and wandered from place to place. When Saul was informed that David had fled from Keilah, he did not go forth. David now lived in the strongholds in the wilderness, or in the barren hill country near Ziph. Though Saul sought him continually, the Lord did not deliver David into his hand. While David was in the wilderness of Ziph at Horesh, he was afraid that Saul had come out to seek his life. Then Saul's son Jonathan came down to David at Horesh and encouraged him in the Lord. He said to him, "Have no fear, my father Saul shall not lay a hand on you. You shall be king of Israel, and I shall be second to you. Even my father Saul knows this." The two of them made a covenant before the Lord in Horesh, where David remained while Jonathan returned to his home. Some of the Ziphites went up to Saul in Gibeah and said, David is hiding among us in the stronghold of Horesh on the hill of Hakilah, south of Jeshimon. Therefore, whenever the king wishes to come down, let him do so. It will be our task to deliver him into the king's hand. Saul replied, The Lord bless you for your compassion toward me. Go now and make sure once more. Take note of the place where he sets foot, for I am told that he is very cunning. Look around and learn in which all of the various hiding places he is holding out. Then come back to me with reliable information, and I will go with you. If he is in the region, I will track him down out of all the families of Judah. So they went off to Ziph ahead of Saul. At that time, David and his men were in the wilderness below Maon, in the Abarah south of the wasteland. When Saul and his men came looking for him, David got word of it and went down to the gorge in the wilderness below Maon. Saul heard of this and pursued David into the wilderness below Maon. As Saul moved along one side of the gorge, David and his men took to the other. David was anxious to escape Saul, while Saul and his men were trying to outflank David and his men in order to capture them. Then a messenger came to Saul, saying, Come quickly, because the Philistines have invaded the land. Saul interrupted his pursuit of David and went to meet the Philistines. This is how that place came to be called Rock of Divisions.